Hello. Um, Puzzle I'm modding. You've probably seen a version of this puzzle before, the Maple Skewb. I have two. Yes, I have to sacrifice one. So, the premise of the puzzle I'm making, is the Maple Skewb. And I was thinking, well, what if you didn't just have to turn it 180 degrees, like you saw me do earlier? What if you could turn it 90? It's a fun concept. And so, got me thinking, like, it would actually be an interesting solve. Because you end up with misoriented petals. And potentially misoriented triangle thingies, which, that's what I'm going to call them. I think we can all agree on petals. Triangle thingies, there's no proper, it's not really a proper analog to the edges on a curvy copter, because they move around. Honestly, it's probably closest to the, what is it, Super Clover Cube? Or, no, Clover Cube Plus, made by Chi. Yeah. So, yeah, then I'm going to walk through the modding process once I get this back to its proper shape. Yeah. I'm not very good at Skewb, so, yeah. And so far the puzzle does not turn well, so that's going to be a fun process. Sorry about the lighting. I'm up in my loft bed, so lighting's not going to be exactly the best. Just LED strip lights. So, yeah. And I'm also a little sick, so sorry if I sound weird. Yeah. So as you can see, it goes back to cube shape. Now I guess I'll just leave it unsolved. So I guess we'll start with talking about the actual pieces that I'm modding. So let me pull an unmodded one out of the puzzle. So this is an unmodified triangle thingy. That's what I'm going to call them. And so the petals interface with it like this. They kind of lie in that little groove, and then the center is basically a ball core, effectively, for the puzzle. So, how I'm going about making this mod is I'm just cutting this in half. And because, well, I don't have laser cutters, or we don't really have handheld ones, so I gotta cut it in half with a razor blade. And the problem I ran into is I can't do that perfectly. It's just too difficult. So, that's why I have this second Maple Skewb, because I'm having to sacrifice to cut the triangle thingies in half. And so if you see that the triangle thingies, they're made up of two pieces individually. There's the set cap, which is what you see from the outside of the puzzle, and it's what they solve position on. Then I'm going to call this the stem, because that's how it interfaces with the centerpiece. As you can see, they connect with some little pegs. Pretty standard stuff. But the main problem I ran into, is if you look closely, you can see that little, like, rib in the middle. And that's right in the middle. So effectively, if I were to cut it in half, I'd have to cut that in half. Which is far easier said than done. So what I've had to do is, here's two pieces that have been cut in half. If you look there, I cut it over to the side of that rib instead. And so I'm just going to file it down until that rib is half there. Let me find a finished one. It's not properly finished, I still have to do a couple other things that I'll explain. Sorry, this puzzle's annoying. But here it is. It's cut in half, nice flat edge, and then side effect of that, having that little rib, is that gives us a nice flat surface for this face. Same is not said for the cap. It has no center rib, which is annoying, but meh. So this face is going to be open, sadly. I might eventually fill it with like epoxy putty or something. Who knows. So yeah. That's the mod. Those are modded pieces. Here's an example of another, the opposite one. And because I'm cutting to the side of that little rib, that means that I have to basically sacrifice half of a triangle thing per piece. 2 of them. So that's why I have the second maple Skewb, which now makes sense why there's 2. Thankfully, it's not like I'm ruining this puzzle entirely. I just get a funny shaped Skewb at the end. Who knows, might turn it into scrap pieces for Nerf blasters. I do Nerf integrations and Nerf mods. So that's the basic premise of the puzzle. Okay, so the final part with the center triangle thingies is, if you notice, if I were to make a line from this corner to the center of this arc, it's not perfectly symmetrical. And so if you look at this, it doesn't go, this triangle piece doesn't go all the way to the corner of the petal. And same is true for here. But if you look at it, this goes a lot further forward than it goes to the side. So what I'm going to have to do is take a round file and effectively file that down so it's effectively a mirror of this side. And that way, I found this out after I'd finished a couple pieces, because then when I turn it halfway, it actually messes with this, with the inner, it just hits other pieces it shouldn't. That's just a little finishing thing I'm going to have to deal with. Yeah. It's a pretty straightforward mod so far. Just time consuming, as most puzzle mods are. Yeah. I'll make another video when I actually finish it, or get close to finishing it.